Hi everyone, I'm Jiya and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and you like my content, then please do like, share, comment and subscribe for more such videos. Now this is a highly requested video and this entire series English with Jiya was asked by so many of you guys. So we are doing the second video. The first video on dust of snow is already uploaded. So basically हम लोग क्या करते हैं is I explain every chapter within 10 minutes and within that time we also go through poetic devices, full explanation, how to write answers, previous year questions and sample papers as well. So everything will be covered within 10 minutes. Now in today's video, we're going to be doing the poem Fog by Carl Sandburg. So it's a काफी short poem, but it carries a lot of meaning and a lot of questions come from this poem especially. So pay full attention and I can assure you, you will get to know the entire poem, be able to answer questions by the end of this video. So the first step that we are going to be following is please आपकी first flight textbook निकाल के रखो. I'll also put the poem here and we'll just read through the poem, after which we'll start with explanation. Fog. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over the harbour and city on silent haunches and then moves on. So basically ये सिर्फ एक paragraph या एक stanza का poem है. It's a one stanza poem and does it have a rhyme scheme? No. इसमें कोई भी rhyme scheme like AB is not followed at all and it has a free verse. So basically whenever they ask you the rhyme scheme for this poem, you just say the poem Fog has a free verse. Also always remember that the poet is Carl Sandburg. So जब भी आपको एक answer लिखना है from this poem, then you write in the poem Fog by the poet Carl Sandburg, this happens. Okay, so let's understand. Now basically क्या होता है? Fog, right? Fog हमको winters की season में देखते हैं हम लोग and it's also like very common in North India right now, Delhi, everywhere there's a lot of fog happening. So fog, it slowly comes and it leaves without anyone noticing that it came at all. So that's what the poet is trying to describe here. So fog, you can describe it as silky grey blanket. It's like a blanket that covers the entire city. And you can also say it has an enigmatic nature. I will put the words here. These are the words that you can use and they are keywords in your answers. So it has an enigmatic nature because it comes and it goes without anyone knowing. किसी को पता भी नहीं चलता है कि fog कब आया और कब चला भी गया. So that's why it has an enigmatic nature. So fog is silky grey. It's like a blanket that covers the entire city and it has an enigmatic nature. Now what the poet does is he doesn't only talk about fog. He compares fog to a cat. तो देखते हैं कैसे होता है. On little cat feet. So basically unannounced and very quietly it comes. जैसे cats also know, आपको पता भी नहीं चलता when a cat went by your house, right? Sometimes you can just hear it, but it comes and it goes by very fast. So it goes unannounced. It has a very sly movement and it's quite quiet. So basically cat is compared to the fog and fog is being personified. मतलब उसको human kind of quality दिया गया है because it sits looking. Now fog obviously can't sit down and look, right? So it's been given personification. This is a kind of poetic device. It sits looking over the harbour and the city on silent haunches. Now silent haunches का मतलब क्या है? The cat is sitting very quietly. Cat sits very quietly ना, आपको पता भी नहीं चलता like I said. So it sits very quietly with its knees bent, quietly looking over everything that's happening. Similarly, fog आता है शहर के ऊपर, it comes above the city and it just stays sitting looking at it and does nothing and goes away on its own. And then moves on. Matlab it goes away on its own. So the entire poem talks about how fog silently, unannounced comes to the harbour or the city. Either harbour and city diya gaya, so you can use harbour and city in your answers. And the entire harbour and city becomes completely covered with fog. Okay? And even its departure, when it goes away, jab chala jata hai fog, it's unannounced, unpredictable. Aapko pata bhi nahi chalega that when will the fog go away. So it comes unannounced and it goes also unpredictability. Also, like we know, silent haunches. So cat sits with its knees bent. Quietly it sits without anyone noticing. So that's what silent haunches means. So basically this poem is about how simple things are given prominence by the poet Carl Sandburg. Chote, trivial things are given importance. Now I'll give you the final summary that I had written while preparing for my exams. So the poet compares fog to a small cat with little cat feet. Little cat feet, why? Because silent haunches and they also mention on little cat feet. So the cat is aloof to its happenings. Aloof matlab it doesn't care or it doesn't know about what is happening around. It just comes and goes on its own. And a cat does not give any much sounds, right? It's very soft and it's very similar to fog. It just comes. Then you say fog causes no harm at all. It just sits and watches over human beings at a distance, right? And in this fast moving world, so the entire the theme of the poem is in the fast moving world. मतलब we don't care about what's happening. हमें बस अपनी चीजें करने. We just want to do our own things. So in this fast moving world, we are unaware about such happenings. We are oblivious to such events happening, right? So all of these are keywords. So yeah, the fog and the cat are very carefree. They are subtle and they are assertive. So basically, people don't stare at these kind of beauties of the world because they are so indulgent and they're so busy with their own activities. So it just lingers around, matlab it just stays around and then goes on its own also. Now let's move on to the poetic devices. Now, Ismail, there are quite unique poetic devices, that is, apart from the alliteration, assonance, repetition, there are other poetic devices. First cheez hai, like I mentioned, there is no rhyme scheme in this poem. It is a completely free verse. Uske baad, you have a poetic devices in silent haunches. What is the poetic device? It's a transferred epithet. Basically, the quality of a person that is silent has been transferred to another thing. So, silent haunches is a transferred epithet. Then, like I said, you have personification as well, because they talk about the little cat feet. So and of course it moves on and it sits looking. So all of these are human characteristics. Like fog बैठ नहीं सकता है, वो fog can't sit and look at what we're doing. So that is a personification. After which, of course, it's a metaphor, because throughout the cat is being compared to the fog, the little cat feet, silent haunches. So all of these are metaphors where the fog is being compared to a cat. So I think that's it for our explanation. Now let's move on to the poem. First, let's go through a few NCERT questions. Then we'll use other sample paper questions and most repeated questions that can be asked potentially. What does Sandburg think the fog is like? Okay. Carl Sandburg, the poet of the poem Fog, compares fog to a cat that enters silently. He thinks fog is a silky grey blanket that covers a city and the harbour and comes unannounced and also goes unpredictably. So these are the things आप बोल सकते हो in almost every answer. It's very common answer. ये same question तो आपके बोर्ड्स में नहीं आने वाला, because it's very simple. How does the fog come? The fog comes very silently, unpredictably, or unannounced. It comes quietly and slyly like a cat and sits on little cat feet. So this is how you can explain that. What does it refer to the third line? It refers to fog that has been metaphorically compared to a cat looking over the harbour and the city. Okay, great. So हमारे NCERT के main questions are done. Now let's move on to extra questions and questions that have been asked in previous years. For your previous year questions and questions that have a high chance of coming in your boards, I'm going to be using this EDUCART final revision book that not only comes for English, it also comes for mathematics standards, science, social and English, of course. Now I think आपके final phase of revision में this book is the best, because chapter by chapter questions are there and answers also come, and high chance of questions from this book coming in boards are there, because CFPQ भी KB questions hai. So I'm going to be using the book, and I'm going to be giving you like a previous year question from here and the answers as well. So you guys can definitely check this book out, link in the description. Yeah. So like I said, there are chapter by chapter questions. So now let's move on to the 4K questions. Read the given extract and answer the questions that follow. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over the harbour and city and silent haunches and then moves on. वेरी सिंपल. आपके फॉग पूरे चैप्टर में सिर्फ एक ही स्टैंजा है वैसे भी, तो एक्सट्रैक्ट आएगा तो भी यही एक पैराग्राफ, मतलब पूरा पोएम आएगा. सो या, व्हिच क्वालिटीज ऑफ द कैट हैज कार्ल सैंडबर्ग अप्लाइड टू फॉग? तो आपको पता है दिस एंटायर पोएम इज मेटाफोर कंपेयरिंग फॉग टू द कैट. सो ऑलमोस्ट द एंटायर पोएम, बट लेट्स सी व्हाट द आंसर इज. कार्ल सैंडबर्ग अप्लाइज द stealth मतलब the slow nature of it coming unannounced, all of that, like it's a keyword. The stealth and quietness of a cat to the fog. Like I said, दोनों unannounced आते हैं, हमको पता भी नहीं चलता है when it comes and when it goes. The fog comes on little cat feet. ये आपके poem में भी given है, तो आप ये apostrophe डाल के you put that exact same line there. Emphasizing its silent and subtle arrival. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, you want to know when it comes and you want to know when it goes. It then sits and moves on in a similar manner, like how a cat silently observes entire human nature, the entire city and the harbour, and then moves on. So आपके 2 points है little cat feet first of all, and secondly it sits on its silent haunches, noticing the entire city and the harbour. So these are your 2 main points. Next question is, evaluate the following statement in 40 words and give reasons for your answer. No action takes place in the poem fog. तो ये competency based question है for sure, because it's not like a direct question from your poem which you can just answer anything, right? So the answer given is, the statement is partially true. मतलब आधा it's correct, to an extent it's correct. While the poem lacks traditional action like movement or events, it focuses on the fog's quiet arrival and departure. जैसे मैंने बोला, unannounced आता है और पता भी नहीं चलता है when it moves on and it goes, which can be interpreted as a form of action in a more subtle and symbolic sense. मतलब कोई बड़ा action नहीं है, it's not raining or anything, right? But slowly it's coming and slowly it's going. So there is action, there is movement, but it's not really some big movement or big action. The stillness of the fog emphasizes the idea of peaceful movement without disruption. It's not like badal or clouds that are coming and are causing rain and distraction to us, right? It's just coming, peacefully sitting and going on its own. So there is action of movement, but it's very peaceful. So that will be your answer for such a question. Guys, these questions are good questions because they're competency based. And then the last question, the poet has used short lines to compare the given poem. Why do you think he has done this? Again, competency based question, ये direct question नहीं है. By keeping the lines short, the poem is controlling the pace to make the reader slow down, therefore reflecting the slow rolling of the fog. तो ये एक very good question है कि why are there short lines? तो it's not just the poem. Poem के through the poet wants you to feel कि क्या बोला गया है. So just like the fog comes slowly and goes slowly, there are short lines so that you can also feel the slow movement of the fog and understand what exactly the poet is trying to convey. So with that, guys, we come to an end of this second episode of English with Jiya, and I will definitely post more and more videos because you guys like these videos. So do like, share, comment and subscribe, and yeah, see you guys soon. Bye and all the best for your preparation and pre-boards.